Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, I apologize. I don't know, it's like a subconscious thing, you know. I need to look into my chart to understand this, because I'm starting to see a little pattern that my brain waves, frequencies, and vibrations have started to create. And it's starting to create a program where when I start to go through every sign in one video, I have this subconscious realm that I jump into that I forget Leo for some strange reason. So yeah, I'm gonna go and detect that right now. It might be some esoteric forces that's attacking that, and or for better or worse, you know what I'm saying? It may be a good thing because it may be some information that I need to receive for Leos personally, or it may be a situation where it's trying to have Leo be excluded from the situation because, you know, Leos like to be center stage. And it's fixed fire. We know fire is the seer and the filler. So we know that, you know, being fixed, we know being fixated on one thing is being fixed. So when we get to us being in the age of Aquarius right now, this is the total opposite. So it may be a subconscious energy out here that's making me, like, since I have an audience and viewers, that allows energy beings to work through me because they pick certain people to work through in order to get out certain information because they know the information to be put out in the way that they want to get put out. And that's how evil beings do with the propaganda specialists and politics and all the beings that's dealing with all that and all the energies and the 13 families with the Illuminati and all that. That's how they all do it. So depending on your spirit and your nature is going to depend on what kind of beings and spirits is going to surround you to help you or hurt you. Now, for me bringing that up, by us being in the age of Aquarius, is looking directly at Leo because it's the opposite, and we know what Leo represents. So right now it's trying to tear down esoterically the ego. And since I'm one of the representatives of giving out knowledge and teaching, then that being can use itself through me in order for me to have the illusion put out that Leo's is unaccepted. And then when a Leo get a contact of a video that a lot of people may watch, and then the person may forget Leo, it sets an energy off that Leo, like, okay, what about me, or what's going on? And see, this is just on a small scale, but this is going on a large scale when we talk about Age of Aquarius. And see, I wouldn't even be talking about this right now if I didn't leave out, you know what I'm saying, the Leo video subconsciously about the Mercury retrograde. So it's like everything, I try to look at everything optimistic, so I try to look at everything like it's a good thing, so that's why I manifest good situations out of it. But a lot of times it could be forces that may be blocking another video right now that I could be doing right now to be doing this. So you never know. It's always a balance. So how I balance it is going to be how I perceive the best outcome out of it. But you know, it could be something going on esoterically when it comes to the age that we're in right now, and it trying to strike down the ego metaphysically by working through people like me and others to come out with videos and subconsciously forget Leo or do other things, or you may go to someone else and look at all signs readings and they may have a bad Leo week or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It may be a lot of different things that's just tagging you guys esoterically. So you know what I'm saying, I would like to say I apologize because I'm a Leo rising, so I honestly don't understand why I do that. So that's another reason why the energy might be working through me like that also. But here, Mercury in retrograde, when it comes into when you have Mercury in Leo, how Mercury in retrograde affects you. This is actually the best placement of Mercury out of the 3 fire signs. Mercury doesn't do well in any other fire signs, but it's the best one will be Leo, because with Leo here, it slows Sag all the way down. Aries, it slows Aries down also. Where you would think Mercury is fast, but since Aries is already fast paced, two fast things, when anything just by nature, when two things is doing the same thing, it's going to cause friction. Now the friction can cause a good situation or a bad situation, but at the end of the day, friction itself is friction. There is no bad or good when we talk about energies. Friction is what it is. So just like I'm gonna make another video too about people don't understand about the Big Bang or Big Bang theory, when they say, okay, what caused the Big Bang? A force called the Big. It's like it'd be so simple, but it's not simple. A force caused the Big Bang. A force. Now we know God has a force, and if you're living through God, this is why you have a force. You have an emotional force. You have a physical force. You have a communication force. You have why you think Star Wars say, "Let the force be with you." You know what I'm saying? Depending on what forces they're talking about, it's many forces out here. Yin and yang, jealousy, greed, happiness. All these have their own forces. The negative force, positive force, negative. They all have forces, but the force itself is an energy, and it came from something, which is God. But we created this. People want to say they can't split the concept between did God create the universe or this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? And their perception of God is all fucked up. So everything gonna be fucked up how they look at it. But God didn't actually create the universe, or the universe is. Its force did. See, that's the difference. That's the dilemma. It's not like it went into something and, you know what I'm saying, pick and choose how things is going to be. See, this is why people can't understand why people have freedom of choice. And when you want to say God know what's going to happen already, then when a person die harshly and go to hell, the people, family members don't never want to say the actual truth of it, but they believe their Bible. You know what I'm saying? See, that's why we have that dilemma, because off the bat you're not understanding the actual concept of a God in the first place, and the actual concept of God that been brought upon this universe is off basis. The structure concept of it itself. Now, God didn't create the universe. His force did. Now, we know when you have a force, we know your force do a 360. We know your force come back. Now, let's break down a force. A force is when, see, we get into a whole nother video, but let me just get this out, and we're going to get into the Mercury and Leo. Now, the force, you know what I'm saying? We know whatever force, whatever you put your energy into, you get back. So if you put a lot of energy into trying to get some money, right? You put a lot of energy. So when I say you put a lot of energy to it, that means you did a lot of things in order to get money. Whether you failed or not, you had to pick up a lot of that failed energy in order to get the win energy, because it doesn't work. You just can't automatically jump into something and win. And then you can't be scared to jump into something if you don't win, because the reason you won't win is because you don't have enough of that failed or losing energy backing you to support your push into the realm of winning. See, people don't understand that also. That's why you can't procrastinate. You can't be scared to do something based upon seeing someone else that did it and seeing them fail, or setting by example. You have to always experience yourself, because you won't get the full gesture of it. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because when we want to talk about the force, the force itself, we know, say you want to put in a lot of energy of getting money. So that means you go put in a lot of applications. You go do a lot of things. You go do a lot of hustling. You go do a lot of saving. So that's a force you put out. So the force you get back is that force. You get back. You get surrounded by people who save their money, people who put in application, a lot of applications also, a lot of other people who got jobs, a lot of other, you get placed around these people in these type situations and these type of possessions, to the point that you start to manifest that that presentation. So we know that as truth. And we know anything that's attached to truth is attached to God. So that's truth. So we know force is relative. We know gravity is relative. You know what I'm saying? So by nature, force itself has the power to create a circular system or spiral system. You know what I'm saying? Which, like I was saying in the last video, the first initial roll, once that force was pushed, the first initial force made the substances in the force do a roll. And that roll, the direction the roll took was a triangle. Those are the directions it took. And if you think about the roll ain't doing nothing but creating eights, which is infinity. And when you say the roll from a perspective of this God, say the roll is coming out or is going down. When you cut certain pieces of it and chop it down and make time references of it, you get 3, 6s, and 9s out of the 8. That's why 3, 6, 9 is the same number. Any 3 times whatever, 6 times whatever, 9 times whatever, you gonna know what it equate to. And this is why it makes the triangle, the Trinity. And when the Trinity makes the completion. And what's completion? Infinity, which is the 8. So it's infinity and it's ain't infinity. But let's get into this video. This is a whole nother video because I'm finna dive into something else. But my bad. Mercury retrograde, how it affect Mercury people and Leo, people who have Mercury and Leo. Now this actually, like I said, is the best, but it still hurts. Now it slows this fire down, but let me remind you, this is fixed fire, so this fire is not as fast as the other 2 fire signs. Now when I say fast, we're not talking about energy wise. All fire signs have energy. We're talking about as far as what is fire, the seeing and the feeling. So when it comes to seeing and feeling, so what happens when you see? That's your intuition. When you get enlightened about things, your perception of things, how you see things, your visions. And when we talk about your feelings, how you feel about things. And the way you express. So this is why fire signs is expressive. See, feelings it's a thin line between feelings and emotions. Emotions spark feelings. Feelings spark emotions. But there's a thin line between the two. Understand that. Now, reason why I say this fire is the slowest, we're not talking about energetic wise. All fire signs are fast. We're talking about what fire does, which is see and feel. So when it comes to fixed fire, it sees and feels in its own way. So it may be stubborn to how you see things. So you may be trying to explain to the Leo, especially a Mercury and Leo, something a certain type of way, and they may not be so quick to see it your way. That's what we mean about slow or stubborn or fixed. We don't mean retarded, dumb class or nothing like that. We're talking about temperaments. There's no good and bad in everything. There's good in being stubborn and being fixed. And having your own way of seeing things, because you are most likely not to listen to somebody else's bullshit. You feel me? So there's a good and bad in everything. So when Mercury comes here, it actually let Leo look at the Mercury and Leo look at the actual details also. It makes you look at the details. It lets you look at what's actually going on, what you're actually seeing, because a lot of times when Mercury not in retrograde, you can see things. You can only see things the way you only see it, and feel about ways the only way you want to feel about it. But see, when Mercury comes into retrograde, you're able to get a little bit more mutable, and you're able to look at how other people's may see it, and see if you're able to change their way of looking at it or not. If not, you're going to stay stuck in your ways and not deal with it, and it's going to be a little bit more easygoing instead of holding grudges or having this ego or pride type of tendency behind it, where can't nobody tell you something even if they tried. So when Mercury goes into retrograde, for Mercury's and Leo's people, this help you analyze other people's perceptions better, so that you could come across a little bit more unbossy and a little bit more relatable, which you know how to do this anyway. But you kind of don't give the impression that you're using someone, because a lot of times the Mercury and Leo could give off the impression that, yeah, you may be giving a lot of attention to other people, but it's for a cause or something like that. So yeah, you have to understand that too. But yeah, but for the most part, it's going to hurt, because you're going to like to communicate about a lot of your stubborn ways, like about you're going to come across like you only want to talk about what you want to talk about. You only want people to see how you see things. When people have a different way of seeing things, or a different way of feeling about things, you express yourself in a way like they're wrong for feeling or seeing it that way, where you're going to be looked at as wrong of even disregarding others like that. You know what I'm saying? So just watch that also. So that's how I heard it help. You know what I'm saying? I know I talked about a lot of more other stuff than that, but everything is for a reason, you know, and everything ain't for a reason. But you need both of those in order to be any of them. So understand that. And that's going to be another video too, when I break down what initiated the Big Bang is a force, you know. Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. And